Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with the League Comic Roundup. We actually got not well, actually a smaller haul than last week. Kind of actually, I would say about a normal haul for how going by last month. So, anyways, kicking these off, we've got Nightcrawlers #2. So, so with Sins of Sinister, 3-month event, the three tie-in miniseries have basically do time jumps. So last month was year 10. This month is year 100. So what we're getting is 100 years onward from Sinister taking over. So they have the Nightcrawlers have a chant that they do as they're counting down it to going into battle. Blessed 3, blessed be the Night Gene. 2, blessed be the Reliquary Perilous. 1, blessed be the Spark. So apparently, Magic of the Red Diamond led the assault on Asgard. The Nightcrawlers showed up and to basically take some of the sacred relics of Asgard. We also learned that Xavier, what do they call? Xavier and Sin whispered through hybrid brains. A little Farouk, a little Valentino, and a civilization died in paranoia and pain. That civilization being the Shi'ar. Now, what I mentioned with the Nightcrawlers, it's basically taking the sacred relics of Asgard. Apparently, Loki saw them when they arrived, and kind of said, you're not slaves of Sinister. Why not help us? Apparently, 23 years previously, the leaders of Otherworld had the same idea, and, Hope and Sin deployed the first triple chimera, consisting of Megan, Maggot, and Madrox, and a plague of magic slugs undid Otherworld like rot. The Nightcrawlers took their artifacts while they died heroically. So it goes. But the battle sequence ends with the Nightcrawlers taking Mjolnir, and they return to their ship, the Narthex, uprooted from the corpse of Krakoa, the twilight days of Earth. Born through the void by the Chamber Nocturne. Its engine is basically Chamber. But Voxing, this is called forth, and the Nightcrawlers have a new ritual. Turns out that a Cyclops and Kurt Chimera is, ending himself. This particular Chimera had an affair with, what did they call her? With Walgreene, which produced a child. But seemingly the child died, and, the Cyclops Chimera can't take it. Walgreene is barely able to do so. Kind of, the idea of just like worshiping the loss of, or revering the loss of her child. And it turns out that Sinister has stopped using the Nightcrawler gene. That little bit of variance that appears to come with it. So, but Mother Righteous is plotting and scheming and talking along the astral plane talking with Legion's astral form. He doesn't trust her. He trusts her even less than he did beforehand. But there's an entry on Terra from Sinister's experimental timeline progress log, and basically an alliance of the Annihilus and the Brood were what sort of led to the end, but it was more just like they showed up and things were already kind of over there. So yeah. But Vox Ignis and or not Vox Ignis, but just Wagnerine and one of the other Nightcrawlers go to the Xavier School, and they find Dr. Nemesis, who has pretty much just become living fungus at this point. Sadly, though, they can't. He insists they try to carefully remove him because, well, he hates to lose his full brain. Also at Xavier's is the original Nightcrawler, who has fully devolved into a beast, and bringing that back, Wagnerine becomes an apostate, manages to teleport away, and looking into some of the spheres surrounding Mother Righteous, learns that her child is not dead. That is where the issue ends. Year 100 kicking off interestingly. Obviously, Mother Righteous has been a manipulator from, I don't know, the end of when she first popped up in Legion of X. So yeah. Oh, excuse me. Moving on to our next book, we've got New Mutants Lethal Legion, #1. So where we left off with the New Mutants, a group of them had been captured by the U-Men. This included Cerebella, Wolfsbane, and Escapade, as well as Escapade's friend Morgan. They escaped. They escaped and did a decent amount of damage to the U-Men's base. So in Florida, they found another U-Men facility, and the New Mutants move in to free everyone, all the mutants that are being held prisoner there. But Cerebella she's having, it's still, honestly, U-Men facilities are still triggering for her. And while she's happy that she's helping people, it's just at the same time she still feels everything that she should feel from her past with the U-Men. But in Queens, Morgan is having to move out. Wolfsbane goes to visit him, and they talk. It turns out that he's been evicted because, with the fact that he's a mutant, his landlord has basically been like, "Yeah, I don't want the place getting firebombed just because you're a mutant." On Krakoa, Escapade and Cerebella are talking, and Cerebella's talking, and Escapade is trying to listen. It's apparently, listening is much harder than talking, but mainly just talking about what Cerebella's going through. Now, it should be noted that in the last arc of New Mutants, there was a point where Cerebella asked Escapade to kill her so she'd be resurrected. She did not, however. But um, Escapade suggests has an idea. One thing that does kind of help. That does help her occasionally is well, going after rich people and taking their stuff. And so apparently, Count Nefaria has found a government agent who's been spying on him and kills him. But Escapade and Cinderbella are trying to think of what they might do, and a calling card to say, you got robbed by these people. But nothing really comes up. They can't really seem to agree on anything. But they do decide to go after Nefaria. It's kind of washed up after all. And Scout has been listening in. She wants in. Back with Rain, her and Morgan, she's offered to take Morgan shopping. She has a shopping trip she has to make, and has offered to let Morgan come along with her in the hopes of talking to them. So they're shopping in the sewers underneath Queens, where most of Spider-Man's villains have a lot of their hidden labs. So the idea being, get Krakoa other forms of tech to use when groups like Orchis, the U-Men, and Xeno attack. We also get apparently an internet ad for the Lethal Legion, a new Lethal Legion being put together by Nefaria. Count Nefaria is seeking glory. Will you stand with him? We have a plan, and it is a good plan, with no obvious flaws. This isn't like last time, or the time before that, or any of the other times. We shall score the kind of crushing victories that normally only happen in an alternate universe. You have what it takes to be among the best of the best. Come to try us at Count Nefaria's house. Be prepared for battle. Wear your best costume. Food and drink provided. Count Nefaria does not reimburse for mileage. So, the plan, how they get in, obviously, is they will disguise themselves as potential new recruits for the Lethal Legion. Wolfsbane and Morgan stumble upon an old lab of Spencer Smythe, creator of the Spider Slayers. But they also came across a rather large beastie in the sewers, and, well, it's following. But also, Wolfsbane asks just why it is Morgan's so down on Krakoa. Part of it is nationalism, and part of it also is the fact that Krakoa doesn't have any conventional weapons. Their entire national armory is its citizenry, and even then, only part of the citizenry. After all, not every mutant has an offensive power. Some, their powers aren't, really don't work for combat, and they have, yeah, sure, you've got plenty that do. The Summers brothers, the Summers family, the Howlett family, hell, Polaris, Banshee and Siren. There's a long list of mutants with more offensive powers, and there's also quite a few that whose powers are not, whose powers really can't work and don't really do anything particularly special in combat. But and the whole thing is they keep, they die and come back, but honestly, the conversation feels like it should have kind of ended with maybe Wolfsbane suggesting that Morgan maybe not move to Krakoa, but at least come to Krakoa and speak with Kurt. There are similar thing. He is asking similar questions as to what Kurt brought up early on in the Krakoan Age about resurrection and the soul. So, but they want to have to fight the giant reptilian beastie in the sewers, while Scout and Escapade are putting together their outfits I guess, a room full of costume pieces. Escapade decides that she is Blaster Dame, and Scout is Fisticuss. Several points say observes that it's so hardcore, and there's no way that this can possibly go wrong. Jonathan the Wolverine's there too, just watching. But that's where the issue ends, and I gotta say, a fun start to the mini. I'm curious to see if Mojo will, or not Mojo, but I mean, he kind of looks like Mojo on the cover a little bit. If Shadow King is going to be involved, or it's just kind of a nod to previous stories. I highly doubt Demon Bear will be involved. But otherwise, good start to the mini. I'm digging it. It has a feel like if the New Mutants title had continued, this would have been the next arc. So yeah, though, or at least the first arc with the new creative team. Moving on though to our next book, we've got X-Men number 20. Where we left off, well, Cyclops, Talon, and Synch, as well as Iceman and Firestar, were on a planet, answering a distress call from Corsair, who, of course, there was a trap. He was about to birth a brood, but Talon was able to remove it. We open up with a quote from Cyclops, which, you know, I dig this quote. It's very much a Cyclops going hard moment. The X-Men aren't the Avengers. We don't wait for bodies to drop to suit up. Letting the Brood exist is antithetical to all life in the galaxy. How long are we supposed to let this go on? And we open on Arakko, where Broo is relaxing and is paid a visit by Magik and Jean Grey. Basically saying, hey, the Brood are kind of rampaging. What's going on there, buddy? Though Broo says that it's impossible for them to be rampaging. He's the Brood King. He also taught some of the Brood how to do the dance from Thriller. And apparently has not been sleeping too well. But Jean is a bit invasive with her telepathy. While back in space, the planet that the X-Men had been sent to had others on it, and so the whole thing is, so the X-Men are trying to get the non-brood aboard their ship and get out. Iceman is pretty much kind of pulling a last stand moment, but door shuts. He did get a small clone of himself inside, though. So as soon as he gets exposed, he can expose himself to some moisture. He'll get back to normal size. Plot point I did forget to mention. Forge and Monet are on Nowhere. It should be noted, Nowhere fell into a black hole after a Krakoan gate had been put in place there. Seems like their whole plan is to get out is seems to include a baby black hole. But we get a quick version of Broo's life. Now he's been sending the Brood out against basically crappy people in the galaxy, people who would be deserving of a visit from the Brood. Not whole planets, but like pirates or slavers, stuff like that. And when he saved people, he wanted people to know who it was that saved them. But he's not sleeping so well lately. His dreams are a little bit off, but when Jean asks, after Jean asks, he kind of he doesn't know how to explain it. She has him go to sleep, and well, Nightmare's there. Nightmare is quite pleased to see Jean Grey. After all, he feels that he owes her. But he's been busy. He had some fun ideas to he had some fun ideas, but then he found Brood. And the Brood rampage across the stars, Nightmare makes sure that the nightmares of every race are filled with visions of the true horror behind it all. And so, knowing that the rulers of Sol are to blame for the new annihilation wave. But it's explained there are multiple Brood monarchs, and Brood also have Captain Marvel and half of Brood's mutant friends. But apparently, everyone that's been saved, something is happening. Apparently, the Brood dream too, and Nightmare's given the dream of conquest. But Jean has an idea of what his plan is. However, on Krakoa, things have gotten interesting. There's a new arrival on the island, and Sage really needs to talk to Emma about this new arrival. Who is this new arrival? Mary Walker. Or perhaps she may have taken her husband's last name, at least more recently. Or hyphenated their names, so she would be either Mary Fisk or Mary Walker Fisk. And her husband, Wilson, is claiming Krakoan citizenship by virtue of marrying Typhoid Mary, a mutant. And he wishes to speak with Emma Frost about this. We also have the Interpol arrest warrant for Fisk, including his full name, height and weight, 6'7", nearly 400 pounds. And that is where the issue ends. Oh boy, did that just... I'm digging the Brood arc, but that just got interesting. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Baby Wolverine, Deadly Regenesis. I know what the cover says. I'm not going to call Laura by the facility's designation for her. If it's in the past, Baby Wolverine will do. Wolverine is the name she chose. X-23 is not. She used the name because it was convenient at the time. But she's Wolverine just as much as Logan is. So this takes place, I would admit, from looks, I would say during Laura's first ongoing, or it could be during actually, it's more likely during the Regenesis era, which would also again be during her first ongoing. But she's left Utopia and is just kind of finding her way. She's teamed up with Spider-Man, other heroes, and she's just finding a way to fit in, and all because, well, yeah, calling her life a tragedy is being very generous. But there's a fire going on, and there's a fire burning in the building. She overhears that a survivor coming out explaining there's a handicapped woman in on a few floors up that can't get out. So Laura climbs the side of the building, breaks through the window, and rescues the woman. Overhears one of the firefighters saying that one of the firefighters is in there, and the fire is burning out of control. So she finds asks where the firefighter is, goes and rescues him, brings him out. Her wounds are treated. I mean, she heals. So, and local news tries to interview her, but she, unlike her father, she does not have media training. So she's not exactly open to an interview. Meanwhile, Kimura has been keeping an eye out for her. Kimura was an assassin for the facility, trained Laura, and then became something of her nemesis. Kimura is, from what it's first off, it's been a while since I've read the old X-23 minis, but Kimura kind of felt like the Sabretooth to Laura's Wolverine. So, but she there's a fighter that she bets on, who's apparently a really talented fighter. His boss has his hands in a lot of other. Their boss has their hand in a lot of other things as well. Now it looks like he's being given performance enhancers for MMA fights. After the fight, Kimura applauds his work out, the fight, and also states that they found Laura. Apparently, his brother, I think it was one of Laura's early victims on a trial run for Kingpin. But and Laura's staying in an old safe house of Logan's. Heads out and reflects on everything. She knows that Hellion's interested in her, but Hellion has expectations, and well, she knows she can't meet them. Hell, even Storm has expectations she can't meet. But she catches a whiff of Kimura, a gas grenade goes off. She pops her claws, and then they pop back in. They're not healing, though. And the fighter, now costumed up and with the name Haymaker, has shown up. He's been ordered not, he's been told he can rough her up a bit, but, not too much. So, that is where the issue ends. Strong starts to the miniseries, and yeah, like I said, we're not going to be calling this book X-23. Baby Wolverine. Laura chose to be called Wolverine. So, yeah. This is her before, or in her younger days, so it fits. Moving on, though, to our last book moment, we've got Predator, #1. All right, we have a new first issue. This is the first issue of Volume 2. We have the same writer, Ed Brisson, so this current arc is called The Preserve. It has a very similar. It's very similar to the movie Predators in plot. There are some major differences, which we'll get into. So, for those unaware, Predators, the third Predator movie, had a bunch of soldiers, killers, and whatnot being deposited on an alien planet to be hunted by the Yautja. They teamed up and tried to turn the tables turned the tables on the Yautja, and two of them survived. And nothing and since that we haven't heard. Basically, it's one of those perfect hooks for maybe, say, I don't know, a comic book that is canon. But, you know. Anyway. But, so yeah, same basic thing. You got a bunch of people who've been brought to a planet and are being hunted by the Yautja, and generally speaking, killed. We also get the timeline. 1987, the events of Predator 1. 1997, the events of Predator 2. 2010, the events of Predator. 2018, nothing happened in 2018 involving the Predator franchise. Absolutely nothing. At least nothing worth mentioning. Ever. And then we had 2156. The year is not. It said the year is redacted. The year that this takes place in is redacted. The Predator's games have apparently evolved. As they go through, some of the new prey are managed to escape and band together, and they start comparing stories. Who are they? Where are they from? We have we got Alan, who's a Brit, down at the pub. Next thing, there's a bright light, and he's falling from the sky. We got Beale, middle of a training exercise. Bright light falling from the sky. Omar, a security consultant. In a desert, last thing he remembers is his team was ambushed, and then he was there. Kiyoshi I think I'm reading this right, but Yakusubo, Japanese self-defense forces, responding to an incident in Matsue. Half her platoon got taken out, and then bright light, parachute, aliens. Ernesto from Citizens Armed Forces Geographical Unit from the Philippines. Though one of the others states that the Kafsku was disbanded in 2041. Though Ernesto was like 2041. It's not. What's wrong? What the hell are you talking about? This particular soldier is Amoa, military. Doesn't want to elaborate. And Kiyoshi goes into explains that that Amoa is right. Though for Amoa, 2042 was 8 years ago. Though for Kiyoshi, it was 13. Ernesto thinks it's 2015. We got Alan thinking it's 1987. Omar, 2018. Bo, 1997. And then we meet there's a speculation that perhaps Predators have been putting people in hypersleep then. Two members of the group turn out to be members of the Otherworldly Lifeforms Task Force, referencing the events that we from 2018 that are best forgotten. They were on their honeymoon when it happened. After all, a week earlier, a week earlier, a week later, they'd have been dead. With Ernesto asking if the OWLF know how to kill the Yautja, and well, bullets, lots and lots of bullets, and a metric shit ton of luck. But there are what appears to be supply crates that are dropped. But yeah, our ragtag group of prey make it to one of them, and well, not supply crates, other obstacles, animals. But they do manage. They do opt to work together, and though yeah, the animal they end up facing is a bit tougher than they thought. And Yautja is tracking it as well, and also starts wading through the various survivors. But the ones left are rescued by Theta and Paolo from our last arc. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting start. Not sure how I feel about aping predators. I when it comes to anything involved to stories relating to predators, I think it would have been best to maybe follow up on its characters. Dark Horse may have done. I think Dark Horse briefly did, but I like there are some, and yeah, I get there are some potential issues with doing such. After all, why don't we follow? Not even Dark Horse followed up with Dutch. So yeah, likeness rights can be an issue. So anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.